Donald Trump has now announced key members of his cabinet and administration. They're Trump loyalists who'll help the president prosecute the policies he does now have a mandate for. Most are excellent choices, strong on national security, unapologetic supporters of Western values and Israel. It's a bold and ambitious team that reflects Trump's landslide win, but it's sending the left into meltdown.
Matt Gaetz, Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth. Do you think that they are confirmable at this point? What's the buzz on the Hill right now?
Well, I mean, I hope you don't forgive me for saying this, Kristen, but the general vibe on the Hill right now is WTF. People are shocked.
Walz is a Trump loyalist, an election denier, and a NATO critic who echoes Trump's skepticism about supporting Ukraine.
But one person has loomed over all of that. His name is Elon Musk. Multiple sources tell me tonight that Musk has been seen at Mar-a-Lago nearly every single day since Donald Trump won.
Co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend. Not even like regular. Weekend.
It's fun, isn't it? And yet they will get things done. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are heading up the Department of Government Efficiency. The acronyms are DOGE, which Elon Musk is having some fun with. It's also a popular decision. Musk has become somewhat of a hero from working class Americans. And in buying X, he's a defender of free speech. And having Musk, one of the smartest men in the world, in charge of slashing bureaucracy, well, it can only be a good thing. And it'll all be transparent. Musk said on X that we will also have a leaderboard for most insanely dumb spending of your tax dollars. This will both be extremely tragic and entertaining. Now, Musk cut thousands of jobs when he took over Twitter, but its usage has skyrocketed, despite the left leaving it in droves. And he's now been given the task of cutting the $6.5 trillion annual government spending. He also wants to help bring down America's $34 trillion debt. It's an insane amount of money. But US debt, like here in Australia, needs to be cut. The only downside of this all is that unemployment will rise as a result. We've seen from almost all the job reports under the Biden administration that most employment growth comes from the government sector. Now, Elon Musk also appears to be playing a key role in advising Trump personally. He's reportedly sat in on some of the interviews for cabinet spots. He also, as you know, joined the call with Zelensky. As I said, the left are leaving X, and even The Guardian announced today that it would quit the social media platform, partly in protest at Elon Musk. But no decision has outraged Washington as much as Trump's move to appoint Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. He's a controversial choice, no question, and I'll explain why in a moment. But the Democrats brought this on themselves when they decided to weaponize the Justice Department, when they decided to use lawfare to put their political opponents in prison to try take out a candidate in a Democratic presidential election. Well, how did they expect that the Republicans would react? How did they expect Trump would react when he personally faced the prospect of prison, receiving different treatment to Joe Biden, even when the alleged crime was exactly the same? And we saw that with the classified documents case. Now, Trump feels the weaponization of the justice system more acutely than anyone. Steve Bannon, Pete Navarro, they already went to prison. So this explains Trump putting Gaetz in as Attorney General. Now, Gaetz has plenty of enemies, especially on his side of the aisle. But the left are particularly fired up about this. Have a look.
Well, Katie, I've gotten two different texts from different people at the Justice Department who just used the word insane to respond and react to this potential appointment.
Heads are also exploding at the Justice Department because this goes against the kind of candidate, Republican or Democrat, that the DOJ sees as an appropriate candidate.
And this is making everyone's head explode right now as we're all watching it unfold in real time, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more opinions on that.
Gates is so provocative that he makes Trump look diplomatic. Here's what he said about women attending abortion rallies.
Is it safe to say that based off of your comments, you're suggesting that these women at these abortion rallies are ugly and overweight?
Yes.
What do you say to people who think that those comments are offensive?
Be offended.
He's often called a firebrand politician and a flamethrower, and he'd be America's top lawmaker. But he was also the subject of a federal probe into allegations he violated sex trafficking laws with paid escorts on a trip to the Bahamas. And there's yet another investigation by the House Ethics Committee into allegations of sexual misconduct, illicit drug use, and misuse of campaign funds. Now, nothing has been proven, and he's denied all of these allegations. Gates has previously suggested he could be Attorney General, but he kind of joked about it.
We go take the White House back, and you never know, David, it may be an Attorney General Matt Gaetz down the road or someone of my liking who will be there to actually enforce the law and provide the accountability, not just the vision, but the actual accountability. The people that are sending you those messages deserve that in a free and just and constitutional republic.
And that was last year, not last week. But it's no laughing matter now. He will be the new Attorney General. The question is, will he end the political lawfare of the justice system, or will he seek revenge and use the same tactics against the Democrats that they used against Team Trump? And if Gates goes for that second option, he could relaunch investigations and prosecutions into Hunter Biden, even Anthony Fauci. It's no wonder Washington is so worried. Now, another key Trump appointment, Fox News host Pete Hegseth. He's going to be the new Secretary of Defense. This is the role that Mike Pompeo had been widely tipped for. Now, Hegseth, he's much younger, but he is a 2-time Bronze Star recipient. He's got 20 years of military service. He studied at both Princeton and Harvard. Now, in defense, Hegseth will be making sure that America is match fit against an increasingly aggressive China.
China's building an army specifically dedicated to defeating the United States of America.
Now, as you've already heard, Pete is also, well, he was also a Fox News host, and he was reporting live on the US election.
Hi, guys. I've been to a lot of Trump rallies. There's Trump rallies, and then there's this one. So we'll continue to monitor the crowd, but it's big.
Just a couple of months later, he'll be the Secretary for Defense. It's an amazing world, isn't it? Now, John Ratcliffe will be the new director of the CIA. He was the director of the Office of National Intelligence in the last Trump administration, so he was in charge of 18 intelligence agencies. But he had a key role when he was in charge of the intelligence agencies. I interviewed him about the origins of COVID, and he said that all of the top secret intelligence on this topic should be declassified.
The people that had the most access to the most intelligence are telling you that the most likely origin of COVID-19, of the Wuhan virus, was what happened, was a lab leak at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. There is more intelligence out there, and I'd like to see it declassified.
That was from our Sky News Wuhan documentary. Now, I have high hopes that when he is CIA director, he'll do exactly that and declassify the intelligence, and hopefully we'll find out more information about how the pandemic started inside the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Another strong Trump appointment, Marco Rubio. He'll be the new Secretary of State. He's rock solid on China, on Israel, and on foreign policy. And here's what he said about the origins of COVID.
Start to conclude here that, in fact, this probably was a lab leak accident. Someone got infected. It now has spread across the world, and a totalitarian communist government in China doesn't want the world to know about it.
And here's Marco Rubio speaking about Hamas.
Senator Rubio, will you call for a ceasefire?
No, I will not.
Gaza?
On the contrary.
Senator Rubio,
are you filming it? I want you guys to get this. I want them to destroy every element of Hamas they can get their hands on. These people are vicious animals who did horrifying crimes.
Now, Trump announced America's ambassador to Israel as one of his earliest appointments. It's a signal that the decision is important. The relationship is important. Mike Huckabee, well, I have to say, he makes me look soft on Israel, because have a look at what he's had to say about the West Bank and settlements.
I think Israel
has title deed to Judea and Samaria. There are certain words I refuse to use. There is no such thing as a West Bank. It's Judea and Samaria. There's no such thing as a settlement. They're communities, they're neighborhoods, they're cities. There's no such thing as an occupation.
Now, this all comes as Trump met with Biden today in the White House, and many have noticed that, well, it's the happiest the current president has looked in a long time.
Congratulations. Thank you. And looking forward to having like we said, a smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need.
Perhaps he was one of those quiet MAGA voters after all. Now, on the Middle East, Trump's election night victory and strong appointments are already having the desired effect. Iran has reportedly backed down, saying it's not going to retaliate again against Israel. And as we'll hear tonight from the Speaker of the Israeli Parliament, there's now hopes that Israel's normalisation agreement with Saudi Arabia could go ahead within weeks. Both sides are keen to get it back on track. It was about to happen before October 7. It's at least part of the reason for those Iranian-backed terror attacks. But I interviewed the Speaker, Amir Ohana. He says it could happen before Trump takes office. He explains why. Have a quick look.
To achieve a defense treaty between Saudi Arabia and America, they will need to get a majority, a wide majority, 2/3 majority. So that could only happen if some of the Republican Party currently sitting in the House and all of the Democratic Party will vote for. We know it's a possibility, but we assume that during President Trump's administration, which vis-a-vis Israel and U.S. relations are expected to be the golden age, but it will be more tough to bring 2/3 of the House. So we hope we can achieve it as soon as possible.
That's a big exclusive, that full interview coming up. But if Israel and the United States can pull off normalising relations with Saudi Arabia and potentially other Arab nations, well, this is the best pathway to peace for Israel. This should be news that the Democrats and the mainstream media are welcoming. Instead, we're just seeing a meltdown at the Trump effect.